All right. So it looks like we are going live.
We
What's
are
going on,
live.
Adam?
What's up, everybody?
What is up?
Welcome back to Pitch the World.
Season 2, episode 1. Yeehaw.
That's
Yeah, this is
right,
gonna be very
man.
exciting. So guys, we're gonna let a few people to hop on real quick and we're gonna share this. So just give us a few seconds while we go ahead and share this on a few of the different channels and let some people pop on. So hopefully everyone's doing well and excited to have Adam here under some pretty unprecedented circumstances that are going out in the world
This,
right now.
this is totally unprecedented, just unreal. I keep waking up every day like saying, when is this nightmare going to end? Because it's just,
I
it's
literally was
crazy.
thinking to myself, dude, I was like, I sometimes I wake up and I'm like, is this a dream? Like I sometimes literally think that this has to be like a dream. No joke.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, totally. I mean, you check the news and it's like, could it possibly get any worse? And it seems like the answer is yes. Hopefully the worst begins to start getting behind us.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. This has been something that just a month and a half ago everything was perfectly fine, and here we are, the whole entire world. Like I have a bunch of friends from all over the world: Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Pakistan, and everyone is going through the same thing. This is a worldwide crisis. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It fits the definition of pandemic perfectly because this is what they talk about in movies as being a pandemic. We're experiencing it in real life. You
This
know,
is real, yeah, yeah. All those movies. This is it, real life. So real quick, let's go ahead and we're gonna get it started as everyone pops in here and everything like that. We're very excited for today's. We thought it was like a perfect opportunity. Like I think we were gonna wait a little bit longer to get this going, but with the current circumstances of what was happening, we like sped up basically the process to get season 2 started for you guys. And it's just so many people have so many questions. Like even for myself, I know Adam right now, guys, is getting inundated. Okay, so like you guys have a perfect opportunity, such a good opportunity to be able to sit here, gain some knowledge. He charges a lot for his stuff. You're gonna get free knowledge here. We're gonna ask some questions. I mean, you know what I mean? Like this to me is like a perfect opportunity to just see what's going on. To give you an idea who Adam is, for those of you that don't know Adam, Adam Kemper is a partner at Greenspoon Martyr. Okay, so not only is he an amazing lawyer, he's a business advisor. Believe it or not, me and Adam is literally like one of my oldest friends. Like we know each other from like second or third grade. Literally, not many people that you can say that you're still, good best friends with. And this is one of the individuals that we've stuck it out for so long.
keeping it real during social distancing too, right?
We're still keeping it real, you know what I mean? Like here and everything like that. So Adam actually does a lot of employment law. He has done a lot of stuff in the cryptocurrency space, marijuana, dealing with a lot of employment, a lot of businesses. And I would say he's a partner and trusted advisor here at freaking Pitch and helped us out with so many different things in the legal landscape, navigating through everything like that. So his business etiquette is very high. And I love to be able to hear from him, and we're always able to share all kinds of ideas. So now during this unprecedented time, it is the perfect opportunity for us to go into a little fireside chat to see what exactly is going on and ask some of those pressing questions about what's happening today and take us powerfully into the whole season 2. So Adam, tell us what's going on right now. How are you doing? How are you putting up with all this? Talk to us a little bit about what's going on, brother.
Well, do I have any hair left? Because it feels like I keep pulling it out.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. I don't if it hasn't been crazy for you, then God bless you, and thank you for not letting this craziness get to you. Because I think that's something we all need to sort of work on as well. Is not sort of compounding the craziness, compounding the fear, compounding the mania. Because if everybody continues to add to it, it's only going to get even more crazy. So, my first recommendation, even for my clients that are dealing with this in their day to day situations, is provide a level of reassurance right now, and be calm through this, okay, as best you can. I know this is a real difficult situation. I know you're bleeding. A lot of companies are bleeding right now, especially hospitality. Okay, if you're in the hospitality industry, you're experiencing one of the worst situations you've ever encountered. Okay.
And if you guys are feeling it, give us a one. Like, it, be transparent. And if you guys are feeling it, whether you're a business entrepreneur or something like that, give us a one so we could get a gauge of the people that are on here that kind of like are feeling this impact economically and pandemic wise. But go ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, if you're in hospitality, or really if you're in any industry right now, I mean, every company is suffering because this pandemic is having a direct effect on the way we live our day-to-day lives. So a lot of companies which are used to having their employees on site, ready to work, clocking in and clocking out, doing their daily routines, they no longer have that ability right now, because a lot of these businesses, by government order, are being shut down and being forced into a remote working situation. So, you have to be able to adjust to that. And for a lot of companies, they were just not prepared for this. How could you possibly be prepared for this? So they're adjusting on the fly, and they're trying to still cater to their customers. But even that, depending on the nature of their business, could be affected. I look at hospitality as one of the most affected industries right now, because we're being told to social distance from each other. And hospitality is an industry which relies on people socially interacting with each other in person. Restaurants, bars, hotels, the Disney theme parks, the Universal Studios of the world, these places which aren't even closed down during hurricanes.
Yeah, when Disney went down and Universal, because they'll do whatever they can they will not shut down under almost any type of circumstances. And when that happened, I was like, I saw it coming, but when it happened, I was just like, oh my God. It's getting real.
It's crazy. It just shows you how on equal footing a large industry like Disney Corporation, or some of the biggest industries in the world, they're not immune to this. Okay, everybody's dealing with it. So there, and the problem is, everybody's sort of looking for a timeline right now. When's this going to end? When can I go back to normalcy? And the answer is, we don't have the answer. The virus has the answer. Okay, seriously.
And the economic dismay that is happening because of the coronavirus hitting us. Because one of the things that I tell people also is that usually, historically speaking, here, we're just going history wise, we have an economic downturn every 9 to 10 years in real estate and everything. Okay, so if you guys remember, we started in 2008, we're in 2020, so it was due. And then we have the virus that hit, basically hitting us, I would believe, a little bit earlier than what we could have accomplished. So you have two forces acting upon each other. So that's why it's even harder. Dude, this is the perfect storm beyond storms.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, we were all sort of waiting for the correction. I don't think anybody anticipated that it would be due to this pandemic. But as we started seeing the beginning stages of this pandemic, and where the economy was going, you could start to see the relationship between how the economy was doing and how the spread of the virus was happening. It was sort of correlated. So the two are naturally tied together, because this, like I said at the outset, this has totally disrupted human lives and the way we conduct business, the way we interact with people, and everybody's having to adjust right now. So that's really painful for people and really difficult for people, and has put a lot of companies already out of business as a result, because they haven't been able to do that adjustment.
And so quickly, and let's talk about one real important subject right now, right? So we have now seen there's a lot of reports coming out for unemployment. Jobless claims are coming in at an unprecedented rate. I had posted like last week, just like what Goldman Sachs and Bank of America was saying was going to be the jobless claims. They were gauging it between 2.5 million to 3 million. And I think the numbers came out, we're at 3, I think by last week, 3.22 million people. And if you see the chart of anything since the Great Depression, nothing comes close to such a skyrocket right away because of it. So Adam, with this happening right now, like what are the repercussions and what is government doing? And like talk a little bit about this unprecedented skyrocket of jobless claims going in the news sector that we're seeing now and everything.
So I think the spike in unemployment filings not only correlates to all the layoffs and companies shutting their businesses down, whether forced or through, total loss of business. So you're seeing a lot of layoffs and people filing, but also there's this new CARES Act, the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, what they call the CARES Act, which is a bill that was just passed through the Senate actually yesterday, and it's going through the House of Representatives today, and will hopefully be a law by tomorrow or the weekend or Monday at the latest. And within this law, there is a increase in the amount of money that people can receive through unemployment. So, for example, in the state of Florida, if you file for unemployment before this law comes into effect, you'd be capped at, let's say, $275 a week. And for people, high wage earners, going down to $275 a week.
How do you live on that? Yeah, you can't live. You can't even live
on that.
Yeah.
So what the federal government has done is they've infused $2 trillion worth of money into this stimulus plan. And some of that is being applied to boost the unemployment funds so that individuals applying for unemployment can receive an additional $600 in addition to the $275.
Which is, substantially larger. Yeah.
It's 3 times the amount. I mean, you're going to be receiving 3 times the amount you would ordinarily receive. If in Florida, every state has different unemployment laws.
Exactly. Florida, yes.
In addition to that, you can now seek unemployment benefits for a maximum of 39 weeks, which is kind of scary. We don't want people on unemployment for 39 weeks.
No, my God.
But in the event this drags on and this does turn into a recession, there will be government aid out there to help individuals, pay off their bills and deal with their day-to-day necessities, through federal aid. So that's one of the major initiatives. And because there's been a lot of news reports about this, I think that coinciding with all the layoffs is what prompted the historic spike in unemployment filings.
Historic, guys. Like if you guys just look it up, I posted on my Facebook, but it's all over the internet. Bloomberg had it coming up, and it's just like the spike looks like, if you look at the chart that came out that kind of went viral last week, it looks like the end of the chart, but it's not the end of the chart. It's the spike of how monumental it is going up. So here's something really quick that we saw happen too. So it took us actually a little bit of time. We were hoping to have this all done ahead of time last week. The stimulus plan that was going to be from $1 trillion to $2 trillion. So, bringing partial parts of politics into play here. What do you think happened? Like I believe that there's a balance that is needed, but Adam, like why, when such great times of desperation are happening on the planet, and, obviously this is US related right now, like why is our house still kind of fighting about this? And like, why is it taking longer? Can you explain a little bit to people, like kind of like what's happening with that and why it took so long to come in, and potentially could there be more issues coming in the forefront to get this out to the people?
I mean, without diving into the politics of it, one thing I can tell you is they're going through a lot of different issues. This, the unemployment thing is one small piece of what is an 880-page act. Okay. I literally have 880 pages I have to go through so I can start advising my clients on some of the issues that pertain to them. Okay, this is one act, 880 pages, and you have to get a bunch of people from all across the country who generally are disagreeing, because we have a very divisive Congress right now in general. We're having to put them in the same, not in the same room because of social distancing, but we have to put them in the same sort of grouping to come to an agreement on issues that affect the demographics that are their voters. Okay. So you have a lot of disagreement in general among House or among partisan lines, and then you have House versus Senate because those are sort of tracking partisan lines as well. And then on top of that, from what I've been told, both sides during these types of scenarios try and add additional initiatives which don't necessarily pertain to coronavirus or COVID-19 related issues, but these are things that they've wanted to pass for a long time, and now they're taking this opportunity to try and not sneak it in, but bring it in as part of this act.
And can you imagine? I mean, because that's what happens, right? So when there's an emergency and you have to bring legislation, they will, if I don't know if you want to call it sneaking, but they're definitely going to Trojan horse almost it in so that they can get some of their own agendas in line and everything like that, right? So one of the biggest things that I did see is that one of the things that held it back, at least from some of the articles that I read, was basically that if they added an extra $600 to this, that a lot of people would actually just quit their jobs, because first of all, some people are getting less hours already as it is, correct? So if you could get more money by being unemployed, you obviously don't even want to have a job, right? So what happens in that type of scenario, right? So if did they actually pass that yet, like for it to have that extra $600? Because then what's the incentive if you're making less money, which there's obviously going to be a lot of people that have less hours? How does that impact the economy? And
you still have to be eligible. So if you're a minimum wage earner and you're not eligible, like you're not going to benefit from the unemployment monies. Like these aren't there to give you additional money that you're not receiving from your employer. This is to address the people that were getting $275 a week from the unemployment, but they were ordinarily earning, let's say, $1,000 a week. This is to help those people. Okay, so yeah. I just want to clarify that. And then secondly, this law is not in effect today. The Senate has passed it. So the House of Representatives, they have to pass it, which they're going to convene today and tomorrow, and then the president has to sign it into law. So, it could be a couple more days, but I think people started reading the news articles about this, and many people are losing their jobs. I mean, I unfortunately have been behind the scenes working with a lot of companies on their layoffs, on putting people on unpaid leave, on reducing salaries, because people just aren't spending money right now, and people and businesses being hurt as a result of it. So employee costs are one of the top overheads for a lot of companies. So that's sort of the first place that companies go is to reduce that overhead, which it stinks because it affects people's lives,
Yeah, and as we're seeing right now, Okay, so let's bring up another aspect, right? So we have that aspect, if you're an employee, regular person, the government is coming in to basically, let's just call it the stimulus plan, but we're printing a lot of money right now, right? So one of the things that I tell people that was pretty unprecedented at the time, this is actually during the Obama administration, in a 1 year's time, there's a cool statistic to put it to play. The Obama administration during the last collapse, okay, so it started 2008, 2009, was more money was printed to bail out the banks and all the companies and everything like that. So it's not something like monumental. They literally printed more money from 2000, I believe it's 2007, right before Obama got in, all the way down to 2013 when the Federal Reserve was created. So, one of the things that people ask a lot of questions is about inflation. And the banks had just said, I think I saw something that was passed, and I don't know if you saw this one, where $1 trillion a day was going to be given to the banks if they needed it. Like, I don't know if it's passed or if they're actually taking it, but they were going to allocate $1 trillion a day until April. And this was like 4 or 5 days ago, a day. So is there ramifications? Like, what do you see with this that's going on now, Adam? And like, are we going to just print ourselves out of this? Like, what's going to end up happening? So anyways, I think Adam just got disconnected. So we're going to wait for Adam to come back in a quick second.
Sorry,
there he goes.
I'm back. I'm literally getting blown up right now.
Yeah.
That's
obviously
okay.
We're trying to reach you right now, right? So with this whole thing, like, what's your kind of thoughts? Like, is the government just going to print their way out of this is there repercussions? Like,
There's
what do
no
we?
choice. There's no other choice. There's no other choice.
Literally, this is the
Because
end. Nothing else we could do at this point.
no, I mean it's either that or don't do it, and then people don't have money to be spending, and then everybody takes a hit. You know,
Then
it's
it gets
really
dangerous. Then the world then the USA would be a dangerous place to be in, because when people don't have money, they don't have food, what's going to happen? It could get to a dangerous place where government would have to intervene in a much harsher way.
100%, 100%. So I think they're doing the best they can, and they are working sort of around the clock. I mean, Congress doesn't typically go into the wee hours of the night to work on things unless it's on an emergency basis, and that's what they've been doing. Like we're hearing about these acts being discussed and tossed around 3-4 o'clock in the morning. They're working on this, and they're doing it overnight while we're all sleeping. So they are working hard on this, and this is the best plan they can all agree on. It's not the best plan that works for everybody, but this is the best plan they can agree on. So it's, I don't know that there's an alternative at this point, even if it does result in some level of inflation.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that we saw in that bill, that basically or this stimulus plan that they were adding, and they wanted to see how they're going to get the money out to the people, right? Obviously, just printing it, like actual physical, is almost a thing of the past, right? So one of the things that was outlined in it is something called digital dollars. Okay, so like I don't know what you saw about that.
That's not going to be part of it, just so you know.
So really,
it's not going to be part of it. So what they're doing, at least according to the Senate bill. If the House changes it, I'd be surprised. But what they're going to do is they're going to look at your tax filing from last year or the year before. If you haven't done your taxes yet this year, they'll look at the year before and look to see if you're below certain thresholds. For an individual, it's below $75,000 in income. For a household, it's $150,000, and then they're going to see if you have children, and they're going to give you at a cap of $1,200 per person, or $2,400 for a household, and then an additional $500 if you have kids.
This is monthly? Is this monthly?
No, this is it for now.
Okay. So just an injection of capital, basically, is what it is.
An injection of capital, but this is the part that the government's not sharing yet, because it's interesting. They're going to first offset any tax obligations that you already owe to the government before you get any money. So if you owe the government money in taxes, you may not see any money.
Wow! Holy smokes! So that is important.
Smart, though. I mean, it reduces your liability to the government. Hopefully you had some intent of paying that, and by the same token, it reduces the debt to themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
of course.
So it goes to tax obligations first, and then they're going to look to see, based on your tax filings, assuming you filed your taxes, whether you're below those thresholds, and then they're going to send checks to you. Okay, and this should happen within the month. It should happen within a month.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So I'm getting a question here. It's pretty interesting just hearing that, right? So like it's almost a stimulus plan also for the government. How much money is the government basically going to actually get now from all the people that owe taxes? I bet it's a lot of money. I really would love to know that number, but let's go ahead and here goes a question from Lawrence Aponte. As a small business owner, will I get any help? So this is a huge one right here, because guys, here at Pitch Investors Live, we're here to help entrepreneurs, startup companies, and investors. We're here to get them advice, education, and obviously funding. And the landscape has just changed big time. So this is actually a really great question. Adam, what can a small business owner do right now that they're not these huge companies that are getting these giant bailouts? Like I've heard the complaint from a lot of people that it's like, you see these big airline companies and the cruise liners are going to get billions and billions of dollars. And then the small business owners, what about me? Is there anything that is going to happen for them?
Well, this stimulus plan, the one that the Senate just passed, is actually the bulk of the plan is tailored for small business. So there's going to be a lot of initiatives. It's going to be in the form of loans, okay? But you can apply for a small business loan, and they're expanding the ability for companies who may not otherwise be eligible for a loan to be able to apply for a loan and to get one quickly. And they're also doing some other initiatives to allow companies that, maybe you're self-employed and you're an employee of one, okay, or the entrepreneurs out there. I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs that pay attention to this.
Yeah.
You can apply, believe it or not, for your own unemployment benefits right now, when ordinarily you need to be an employee. So they're expanding the coverage of people that would be eligible for unemployment benefits to not only W-2 employees, but to self-employed individuals, to independent contractors, to the Uber drivers, to people like that ordinarily wouldn't be able to take part in that. So there's that initiative. And then there's also another employee retention credit program, okay? So that if you retain employees through this epidemic, through this pandemic, you can get a tax credit for your business as well. And you can also defer some of your payroll taxes to the future if you can't afford to pay them now. So a lot of these programs, I would say the bulk of them are for small businesses and for entrepreneurs and individuals, that ordinarily wouldn't be covered.
Oh man, amazing. So do you have any idea what we're looking at money wise? Like, have you been able to look that deep? Like, what purport or estimated proportion is going to go to small businesses? Because you know what there was, the internet loves to basically troll people, and they showed so many different potentialities that people were trying to guesstimate what they were, and a lot of it was big business. So, what do you have any numbers for us by any chance?
So. This is actually coming from my partner who works in DC, who's she's going to be helping a lot of companies apply for these loans. So if anybody's out there that thinks they might be eligible for a small business loan, this is something our firm can help you with. We're going to be doing that Monday after this act comes into law.
Yeah. So, and by the way, what we're going to do too, and remind me to get that link. This is for everyone out there. So if you're just a regular employee, entrepreneurs, small businesses, we're going to be giving you guys a free PDF outlining all the information about where you can get some relief as much as we could get. Be mindful, it's all changing. So Adam, remind me, and I'll put that link inside there too, so that people know where they can actually go to get some of this stuff. I'll put it inside there so that just be mindful. We'll probably post it on this live itself by tomorrow. I think tomorrow, Saturday, the latest. And we'll probably post it on the Pitch Investors live page too, guys. So to get you guys some support and for you to know what's going on and what to do, we'll help you with that. Yep.
Yeah. So there's roughly an authorization of $350 billion for small business loans.
Nice. Okay. 350, not bad.
350 billion out of 2 trillion total is going to small business loans.
Yeah, a little bit less than.
And there's also another 450, which is going for loan guarantees, investments in eligible business, states and municipalities to sort of help the local governments as well with some of the issues they've been dealing with. But there's certain qualifications and requirements that, it's not every company is going to be eligible. But what I have read is the goal with these initiatives and the goals with these plans is to open up availability and eligibility to as many small businesses as possible. So
do you know why a small business would not be available? Like where would it basically be? What things would stop a small business entrepreneur that has something going on? What would stop them from being eligible for this, Adam?
That's a tough question to answer right now without all the details. But what I can say is, they might think they're small, but have 550 employees, and they might be too big for the Small Business Administration.
Interesting.
Okay? So I think there's going to be an employee count threshold, which has actually been expanded. From what I've read, it's 500 or fewer employees. So it's going to look at the size of the business in determining whether or not you fit within the category of small business. And they're going to do their own due diligence too. I mean, this is a loan, so you have to pay it back. And if you've defaulted in the past, or you're not otherwise eligible for a loan right now because of whatever reason, they're not just going to hand out money now as well. Okay,
that's
so
a point.
I don't want to paint that picture that.
So there's not a free money giveaway that the government's just like, woo, here you go, guys, go have fun. Like,
because that'll create a bigger recession, is if they willy-nilly loan out a bunch of money to companies that can't pay it back, that go in default, and then what the government's going to foreclose and seize property, and it's just it'll be an absolute nightmare for that scenario. So there will be a due diligence process. There will be an application and a review, and if you meet the eligibility requirements, then you should be able to receive the loan. It's not going to be opened up to everybody.
Yeah, of course. And so let's go down the line with the different type of people, right? So employees handle that a little bit. We see what's happening to some of the regular employees, some of the small businesses. So what happens to the people that are contractors, right? So there's contractors in the United States. Some people, they call them freelancers on the internet, which maybe they're not as affected, but if they're working for a company that has a physical location, obviously they're being affected now too. So how does that work for these people that are contractors? Is there anything in there for these individuals?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of alluded to it before, but the unemployment coverage will open up to independent contractors now, which is totally unprecedented and totally against what the definitions are for unemployment benefits. So
why is that unprecedented, Adam? Like, I want to hear this one, because obviously this is your jam right here. So like, why is it so much different, and why did this actually take you by surprise that they're putting them in here?
No, I think the goal is to just help as many people out as possible. So independent contractors who are self-employed, if they're a true independent contractor, I think of the Uber driver, even though there's been some cases about that, but they're in the business for themselves. They're picking their own shifts that they want to drive, right? If there's nobody telling them you need to do a shift in the morning to go do these drives, the Uber driver does the drive whenever he or she wants, and drives the car whatever he or she wants to drive, etc. So I think of that scenario. And there's people right now that are not taking Ubers for fear of coronavirus. And
you're scared. Well, people will be scared. Uber drivers got to be scared. So there can't be that many of them still doing it out there. Obviously they have to because they need money. But
the point is, they're losing business just like a company is losing business. So they should be able to, under this scenario, which is very limited, obtain the benefits which are ordinarily allocated to employees, right? Yeah. Okay, because this is an unprecedented time, so we have to make exceptions to the traditional rules. Okay, the traditional rules are that unemployment benefits apply to only employees, W-2 employees, not 1099s, not the Uber driver. But these are unprecedented times. The government acknowledges it, and with a lot of these new laws, there's a sunset on these laws too, which means they're going to expire at the end of this year. Okay, so these aren't permanent laws that are coming into play. They're really temporary, and they're really specific to deal with this pandemic. So this just goes to show you how unprecedented this is, and
that's crazy.
And how historic this is. I mean, it's amazing.
And the crazy part I'm going to briefly talk about, like there's also repercussions, like people don't realize this. Like when I asked you, Adam, basically about, like what effect could it have? So right now it's kind of true. Like we can't really see another solution other than to print our way out of this. But as we've seen in history, printing our way out of it causes a lot of problems. And one of the first things that comes to mind for me, they call it the invisible tax. So because we have to do this during this situation, there really is no other options other than some people are saying a potential global reset, but that is way too extreme, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to print your way into an extreme manner. I mean, we're looking at, 10 to 15 trillion. Some people are even saying it could be 20 trillion by the time we're done. We don't know what those numbers are going to look like until we're done with this whole entire pandemic / economic demise. So, we have this invisible tax that is going to hit us. So you guys have to remember, like we're putting in temporary Band-Aids into a much bigger problem here at hand here. So, Adam, so what would you say in this type of situation, if you had advice right now for someone that has actually lost their job, right? Or people that are actually afraid of potentially losing their jobs, what is the best thing for them to do right now? We saw over 3 million people by last week, in the last couple of weeks, basically lost their jobs. And it's going to continue on if we can't get this on the wrap soon. What's your best advice that you could give them?
Well, twofold. One is certainly take advantage of the programs that the government is offering. You know, apply for unemployment. If your employer gives you trouble with that, assuming they're not one of my clients or one of my firm's clients, I can certainly help you with that. You know, in making sure that you get the benefits that you're entitled to. And then secondly, now's a perfect time for us to all sort of look within and reinvent ourselves to create value in a time when everything is being disrupted, right? What are some valuable opportunities where you can help people right now? And there's a lot. The healthcare space is booming right now. They're hiring like crazy. The Amazon's hiring by the day. Grocery stores are hiring by the day. You know,
Costco's going crazy. Costco's going crazy right now.
There are so many opportunities out there. You just have to look for them, and you need to think outside the box right now because of this social distancing, because the traditional workspace is being disrupted. And it's just so interesting that we're experiencing this now, because literally last year I was doing a presentation in front of a bunch of HR professionals about the very topic of telecommuting, remote working, reducing the physical footprint of a traditional workspace because it's no longer becoming necessary. And now it's becoming necessary to have the opposite, to have the remote work.
It's forced. It's been forced upon our society now. Everywhere you go, like Zoom. That's why, like, if people know Zoom, you know, the conference line, you know, their stocks skyrocketed while everyone else is failing. So you bring up a really good point, Adam. And this is one thing I've been talking to people. You know, people have been asking me questions, and I'm like, look, guys, we could talk about all the negative stuff as much as we can, as much as we want. You can pay attention to social media, the news, and everything. But the reality is money's not disappearing. On the contrary, it's being printed out of thin air right now. Okay, so literally, what does that mean? That means money is not disappearing. It is changing hands and it is changing direction. So this is a great time to be highly adaptable in everything that you're doing, because if you can't adapt and if you're one of the people affected, you can actually not just adapt and get into a better position, but you actually may thrive more than you ever have before with all this trillions and trillions of dollars that are now entering into our economy.
That's an excellent point. And I mean, look, the money's not going anywhere, right? It's going to be somewhere. It's just, you have to think outside the box, be creative. How can you add value to somebody right now? You know, how can you help people? And there's a lot of solutions out there. It just may not be something that you're accustomed to doing, which may be difficult for you. The second thing I sort of want to bring up real quick too, it's overlooked. It's overlooked in every scenario, but it's probably most prevalent right now, and that's mental health. Okay.
Ooh,
a lot of people are going through this fight or flight mode right now. They're fearing for their jobs, as you just pointed out. They're fearing for the illness. They're just living in a state of fear. They turn on the TV, everything is mania. Mm-hmm. Now's a great time to, like, once again, look within, get the help you need. Okay, there's no stigma anymore associated with that. And if people still have a stigma which says, "Oh, mental health means not manly," or, you know, that's too female or whatever, that's nonsense. Okay, get the help you need, because this is not going anywhere for a little while. Okay, and this is going to be our reality. So if you can't get that through your head and it's really stressing you out, because I know it stressed me out, and I know it stresses people around me.
Stresses everyone out. Anyone that says that they haven't been, if there's any owner, business owner, anyone at all that's not saying they're stressed, because even if you're on the good side where things are booming, that's a new level of stress within its own, because you have to basically sequentially change everything, hire new people. So the stress is all around the board. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I'm telling my clients that, you know, to the extent that they're remaining open and they're making the adjustments by putting everybody on remote work, to offer some type of employee assistance program. Okay, it's an EAP, which will give the employee some resources to talk to somebody, to hear some guidance to help them cope with this mentally. Because if you can get past this mentally, you can get past this entirely. You know, so long as you take the precautions in place to prevent yourself from getting the virus. But mentally, this is the bigger hurdle in my view.
Man, the one thing that I'm like, like I'm seeing right now. So it's like if you go back in time and you see some of the greatest minds in history. Okay, so let me bring something up that to me was quite insightful. People don't know, but some of the greatest works of Shakespeare were actually written during a pandemic, also. Okay, and if you go back to Isaac Newton was actually in quarantine when he was coming up with some of his greatest discoveries, also in calculus and some of his great writings that would come to be. So this is a time that I believe personally, people are not just going to expand their awarenesses, first of all, who they are as a person, because you got to sit with yourself right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, you're just mostly at home. There's not much to do. You can't go to the movies. You're not going out with friends to bars and stuff like that. So a lot of people are just basically locked down. And this is a great opportunity to evolve, learn new traits. This digital spectrum is like far and beyond what anyone thought it was. And people actually right now are being forced to use the digital spectrum that they may have before, like really didn't want to be a part of, didn't want to be part of the social stuff, the digital stuff. They're now being forced to do it regardless if they like it or not. So like,
can I ask you a question? And I think this is a great question for you. If I could sort of flip the table for a second. You're entrepreneur, many companies over. You were here in 2008 when we had the last recession. We all try to look at 2008 and try and say it's the same, but it's not. This is totally different. But do you have any words of encouragement for entrepreneurs out there that may have just started a business and now they're like, holy crap, I'm dealing with a recession as I'm starting my business?
Yeah, great question. And guys, if in case you didn't get it in the beginning, just so you guys know, actually, Adam is actually one of the hosts of Pitch the World, and I'm interviewing him. I'm one of the new hosts that's coming in here to help you guys out. So if you didn't know, it's great that you can actually flip back the question at me, and I want to be helped. So great question, actually. So right now, to give you guys an idea, I've had a lot of businesses, failed in a lot of them, gone through also economic upswings and downticks and everything like that. And I would have to say is that we literally had a call with my team actually this morning. And one of the things that we were talking about, and Caroline, one of our executives, was basically brought up something really good. One of the things I love to talk about is adaptability. Okay, adaptability to me for the future is literally going to be one of the most powerful and most well-recognized traits that you can have is adaptability. Okay, so what I tell people is like, yeah, some people think IQ is great. Yeah, EQ, emotional quotient is in there and everything like that. But the reality is, in today's environment, you have to be adaptable. Okay, so you have to be adaptable as much as you can. And I think that is one of the things that we're going to learn right now of companies, how fast they can pivot and move the things along. Another great thing that you brought up is about mental health. And I think that has a lot to do with it because a lot of people want me to talk at conferences about how to run Facebook ads, how to build the business. And actually, Caroline's a huge proponent. She wants me to go speak. And I'm like, I never want to speak about any of this stuff, but I want to talk about mindsets. I want to talk about how people can basically have a proper philosophical foundation that can help them ongoing, not just for a few times. So I would say one of the biggest things too that you can gain from this time is to work on yourself, like big time. Work on yourself, work on your mind.
Look within.
Yeah, look within. Like stop looking out there. You know what I mean? Like stop looking out there so much. You look within, and the more that you can manage yourself and the mind and get your mind to quiet down a little bit, the more it starts to slow down out there, no matter what's going on. You know what I mean? Like think about it, the biggest owners on the planet, the type of problems that they go through. Just think about Elon Musk for a second. Okay, think about what that guy has going on right now. Okay, the amount of people that he hires, first of all. Secondly, the things that are going on in his companies, just imagine, okay? So these type of individuals have to be so solid mindset-wise and be able to quiet out the noise in order to not just sustain, not just to survive, but also to thrive. And I think that is one great trait that you could bring into play. And it's that mental wellness. When people think about mental wellness and everything like that, they're like, no, guys, that's like every single player, no matter how high you are, that is one of the things that you could work on that I believe can have incredible help to get you to stay adaptive, stay intuitive, stay, like with a very strategic mind in play. And you got to, I would say you'd have to literally bend to a T very quickly and be agile in this new environment. And I think that would help people not just survive this, but also thrive, because the opportunity there, we just showed you guys how much damn money is being printed. Like it's out of control. And understand something, if we're going to pay attention to the laws of supply and demand, inflation itself, if it comes to fruition, is not happening right now. So there's actually a huge window of opportunity right now. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's great, and I think we all could use words of encouragement, and we could all use help. But this is not all doom and gloom. This is a great opportunity, like you said, to sort of look within, see how you can reinvent yourself, maybe pivot and do something else, and find ways to help people. Like that's the biggest thing. That's the main reason why you and I wanted to do this next season of Pitch the World, is to spread helpful information out there. And I encourage everybody else to do it. If there's something you know that could help other people, spread the information, help people out. We could all use it. Great opportunity right now to collaborate and work together, and maybe go from being a divisive nation or a divisive set of people to maybe more of a close, one-knit set of people as well. So, take this opportunity to reinvent yourself.
Yeah. No, amen. And I think that is one of the reasons. So our season 2 of Pitch the World was actually not supposed to happen now. And we just saw everything that was happening. And we're like, man, like so many people have questions. So much is going on. There's no better time than right now to help and support people. So like, I agree with your message, Adam. Like right now is the time that you also, just as much as you want to survive on your own and make sure that things are going well, help people out, support people out there with whatever which way. Like all of us have a different message to get across, and all of us can help in a different way, whether it's like going in to help someone, being able to bring in some masks if you have FDA certificates and be able to resell them, healthy stuff to keep people doing it, an app that you want to build. The thing is too, the resources at hand are a lot cheaper for business to start. So if you are right now on the edge of thinking about starting a business, start that business. If you're working for an employer right now that basically that they're having a hard time, pay attention to what's going on. Come up with innovative ideas to help them. Like go the extra mile, and you don't know what comes out of it. One little thing that changes can change the entire trajectory of a company and an individual or anyone, the business as a whole and everything. So
100%. So we got a few minutes left. Maybe we should take some questions.
Let's go ahead and take some questions, guys. So let's hit some questions. I think Damien was putting in here, if anyone wanted to come on the podcast itself. Damien, can you shoot us a message real quick and let us know if you're talking about this podcast? Should we try to bring someone on? Adam, do you have enough time to maybe potentially do that? Or
I think he means his future guests, but
okay. So by the way, I love that idea to bring someone on from the audience. So guys,
a live guest. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. So let's go through these questions. Let's go through these questions really quickly, okay?
All
right. So let's go here. How do I go through this whole list? All right. Okay. So someone was in Switzerland. They have a whole bunch of businesses going on and such like that. I don't know how I can go through the whole list right here.
Is Damien able to just pop one up? There we go. There's one right there.
Okay. Where is it? It went away. Where'd it go?
I can read it. You want me to read it?
Yeah. Can you read it?
So it says, in Switzerland, small businesses can apply to a special fund from the government with justification why. How much and how long do you think your business is going to be negatively impacted? Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think he's referring to United States businesses and how long they're going to be impacted. Like I sort of said before, it's not our say. It's the virus's say. It's like, how long is this going to last? And what's going to be the balance? And I know we keep hearing, if you watch the news, and unfortunately I've been doing it, you keep hearing President Trump saying that he wants churches to be full on Easter Sunday, which is next month. Okay? That's against the advice of like some of our nation's top doctors. So in his mind, he wants to open back up the world to get everybody back to work. Doctors think we could be at this for a lot longer, but it's a day-to-day thing. We don't have the answer today. We just don't know. So, all I can say is just be present to the moment right now and continuing to do everything you can to add value to people, to help people, and to just get through this, because we will get through it. At the end of the day, this is going to be a temporary situation.
And from what I'm seeing right now too, is that this situation is bringing people together like I've never seen, you know what I mean? And the thing is, it's like, since it's global, and I have friends in all parts of the world, and it's so crazy how we're all dealing with the exact same thing. Like, to me, it's almost spectacular to see, although despite the situation at hand is very vast, and it's a deep situation that we're in right now, but it's like seeing all these people, it gives us a greater appreciation of life in itself. Right now, do you think that people are caring about what car they're going to get, what nice car they're going to get, the nice watch that they're going to get? All that stuff, the material stuff, has literally gone out the window, and we literally have to pay attention to the most important stuff, which is family, our friends, how we can support each other, how we can actually survive, you know what I mean? Like in a great way, and not to say, hey, this is a survival of the fittest thing, but at the end of the day, like, this situation has put humanity as a whole, because none of us are out of this. I don't care what country you're in. I mean, it's almost by the time we're done, it may hit every country on the planet, and therefore hitting so many people. So to us, this is a great opportunity to be able to, look within, be with your family. So I feel like this is an evolution of mankind like we've never seen before. And, I'm happy to have, like friends like Adam, and my friends and family all around, to be able to go through this and just support each other in every single which way that we can.
Right. I think Diani had a question about whether the stimulus check should be based on last year or the year before.
Yes. Yeah. The question is, will this stimulus money need to be paid back from next year's tax money?
No, not as far as I'm aware. But like I said before, if you owe the government money for, let's say, your 2019 taxes, they're going to deduct whatever you would ordinarily be eligible for before they send you any money.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Just keep that in mind.
Yep, exactly. So hold on. Do we need to apply to relief check, or they just sent? So do people? So this is another great question. If you guys didn't hear me in the beginning, or actually in the middle, we are going to be releasing a PDF, okay, totally free. That's going to allow you to download, or we'll send it in an email or something like that. That will allow you to know all the relief places and everything like that. We're going to put it down. Adam, I believe also that your firm is going to be helping with some stuff. I don't know if that's for businesses or regular people also. But can you explain really quickly? Because she's asking if they have to apply, or do they just send it? Like, how does it kind of work? If you could give
there's two different things. So the checks for the families, the 1,200 to 2,400 checks, those checks, there's no application. Okay, they're going to send that to you after they look over your taxes, but you have to have filed your taxes and have to have a social security number and all that, and you need to be below certain income thresholds. Okay, so it's not for everybody, but it's for the vast majority of people. So you don't need to apply.
And what happens for someone that has not, so a lot of people are late on their taxes and everything like that. So someone that hasn't put in their taxes for, let's say, 2019, are they
Jonathan Poll's question?
Huh? I don't know if we're even eligible for any of this stuff, but we'll find out. But like, it's, if someone hasn't, hasn't done it for 2019,
they're going to look at last year. They're going to look at 2018.
So they'll look at 2018, the previous year, and then they'll do it. So yeah, got it.
But yes, and they're also, because of this situation, the tax deadline is typically April 15th, and that's being pushed back as well.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a real cool comment from Andrea Santos. What's up, Andrea? So she says, we cannot underestimate how far it'll go if we invest in each other, right? So it's like, that's the biggest thing. It's like, if we invest into each other, we're going to be in a much better situation by the support. So here goes one last question, Adam. And then after this, I think we're a few minutes late. And
yeah, I gotta jump off.
So we're going to jump off here. So last one for you. Okay. So this is Russell. So how does one start a new business knowing that it would benefit our youth when households are holding on to their finances so close to their chest? So what would be your response on that one, Adam?
Yeah, I think there's you got to think about what people are willing to spend their money on, i.e. toilet paper and like, things like that right now, essential life um, things that people are buying during a pandemic. Just think about how well like a Home Depot or a grocery store does during a hurricane that we see in Florida every year. They provide the essential goods for that situation. So, what are some essential goods that people need right now? I can think of a lot because when you're sitting at home and you're like, I'd like to work out right now, I'd like to eat some good food right now, I'd like to watch some good movies right now, I'd like to maybe buy some things that I can do while I'm at home. Start thinking about that rather than stuff that requires that you be in person together. We're sort of against the grain of social distancing. So, think about that, think outside the box. I'm sure you have a ton of ideas, Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, one idea that just pops up in general. So pretend it seems like Russell, you might be an advocate of the youth and such like that. So I'm going to piggyback off you, Adam, actually for a second, and think about for a quick second if you want to do the youth, what is it that the youth may need right now? So is there anything health wise? Okay, so is there
they need activities? That's in my household. They need activities.
Imagine in-house activities. Is there a game that they could play to stay a little bit more to stay healthy? Is there a food that could be healthier for them to have? Is there a way that they're able to disinfect or clean themselves a little bit better? So you have to think about what Adam was saying is like, think about the necessities of right now. And then the key point, I always like to stack things, is what can you do right now that is a huge necessity, but yet can still continue once the economy comes back, once the pandemic is gone, things like that. That would be a great way to look at it. And don't look at it in the way like people are holding on to the chest, the money. No, that's not true. They need to have that money. First, the government's going to be giving people money. Money is still there. It's being printed out.
People are overspending on certain things too, because of the fear and the toilet paper is a great example. Why are people buying so much toilet paper? It doesn't make any sense. It's just silly. But people are overspending on that because they're so nervous. And they need it for their household.
Fear.
People are overbuying alcohol right now, which is, it is what it is. And certain things that, just start thinking about buyers' minds and catering your product to a buyer's mind right now.
Yeah. So, amen. So guys, I think that's about it. Big applause to Adam,
and Jonathan.
And Johnny, both of us getting in here, but, big ups.
Pat yourself on the back.
So big ups to Adam. He's super busy right now, guys. So, super big ups because there's so much going on right now in his line of work. And he just gave us a huge download. If you guys are just tapping in right now, as soon as it's done, watch the rest of it. Share this on your walls. Share this on your channels because we need to get the message out. We're here actually to support people. Be mindful by tomorrow. If you haven't followed the Pitch Investors Live page, follow us there because we are going to be giving a totally free PDF, giving you more input on this. Adam's firm is actually going to be helping companies and business with this type of stuff in a great manner. So we'll be able to put that information in there. And Adam, give us the last words of encouragement or something that, the people need to hear right now before we go.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said it before, but I'll say it this way. Just be present to the moment. Don't build all these worst case scenarios in your head that might or may not happen tomorrow. What they say fear is, it's either future events appearing real or false evidence appearing real. A lot of people are sort of jumping to that right now because of this world is ending mentality that's out there. But never a better time to just be present to what we're dealing with at this very moment.
Yeah, amen to that. Great information. We appreciate that, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Guys, we're going to be doing this hopefully as much as we can on a weekly basis. And we can't wait to see you guys on the next one. And we appreciate all you guys. Make sure you're following the Pitch Investors Live page and stay tuned because we're going to have more for you. Everyone stay safe and have a wonderful Thursday and see you guys soon from wherever you are.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe, guys. Thank you.
Take care, guys.